Is this a drill or something?
Greetings, Exalted Ones. My name is Dash. And today I have with me the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi on Star Wars: The Clone Wars and Rebels, the man himself, James Arnold Taylor.
Well, I feel as though I should put my lightsaber up there as well, Dash.
If there was a lightsaber off, I feel I just lost. That is absolutely magical. Where did you get that saber from?
You know, one of the benefits of being Obi-Wan Kenobi is getting lots of cool things from people at Lucasfilm. And this was one of the gifts that they gave me at one point. And it is a Obi-Wan Kenobi hilt. And it's a lot of fun. I have several of them, actually. I have one that's encased in glass. And then this one is the one I use anytime I want to, get into battles with people like yourself.
Yeah.
But so it's seen some good battles. But yeah, no, it's great to be part of this world of Star Wars.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's phenomenal. And the fact that they gave you something that looks like it's absolutely movie quality that could take a fight or two, I mean, that's fantastic too. Now,
Sure.
Obviously, I did want to talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars Rebels, from the Clone Wars to Rebels, but I feel I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about your earlier work because it really changed, I guess, my life fundamentally. Maybe, get interested in video game, the voice acting aspect, and I'm talking about Final Fantasy X.
Right.
Yeah, because, and just a quick synopsis. I played Final Fantasy VIII. It was 120 hours of text. 10 came out, and it was one of the most expensive games. They put so much money and effort and love into the voice acting and making it more immersive. And it came with, and this was a new thing, like a DVD bonus disc on the PlayStation 2. And yourself, you were on it. You played Titus, who I called Titus until I heard you say his name because they never said it in the game.
No.
And that was kind of like a game changer for the whole industry. How did it feel to be a part of that?
Well, thank you very much, first off, for all your comments. Very kind. And it definitely was a game changer. It was one of those things where we had an idea at the time that it would be setting a new bar.
Yeah.
But I had no idea that here it is, we're going like 12, 13 years later, and still daily I get comments in my social media or emails of people thanking me for that work. And, Titus was one of those characters where you either loved him or hated him. And a lot of people were kind of like, oh, he's so whiny, he's this, he's that, or whatever. But it was a great character to do. And it was one of those things where we were very meticulous because at the time, we were replacing all the Japanese lines and it was all already done.
Yeah.
So we didn't have as much of the technology as we have now to fit lines of dialogue. So sometimes you hear lines that I would say and you could tell they time compressed them, or you could tell I said them much faster than I actually should have said them, but it was because I had to fit it within that and match the lip flap. And so within all of those kind of guidelines we had to squeeze into, we ended up getting this kind of magical game that, again, people play, as you mentioned, for hours on end and really just dive into this and become these characters. And I think it really impacted people in a way that they never could have even imagined, even though they knew they were doing something special. I remember the first stuff I got, music-wise, the theme, which we all now know so well, but I had a CD, I still have it, of just it being done just on the piano, just, very simply for me to get it into my head, and then getting the script that was like a phone book. It took 3.5 months for us to record all of it. And it was such a great job. Jack Fletcher was the voice director on that job. And Jack did a great job of keeping me in those lines of this character that is this kind of reluctant hero at first, kind of this whiny teen, but then also somebody that by the end comes through and saves the day. And there's, of course, love story. There's awkward laughing. Ha ha ha.
Oh, nobody's forgotten the laughing scene. I mean, that was one of the more comedic reliefs. Seeing you talk about it and saying you seeing it on screen when you did it was really nice. And I mean, there's a lot of parallels to a certain Skywalker when you're talking about the fact, the father issues with Jack, how he was whiny, but he matures over time, but it was really phenomenal, and it was something that was unseen, and especially, like you said, the immersion. I think that's when it changed. And could you fathom how far you would have come from then till now in terms of your career?
I feel like, I think we all always kind of set goals for ourselves. You set goals for yourself of saying, someday I will be this, that, or the other. And my goal was always to be a voice actor. Whether I was famous at it or not was not really the question. It was whether or not I would have a nice resume of work.
Yeah.
That also included the body of work of the vocal range that I have, which is pretty rare for somebody my size and build. So I always had hoped that I would have a wide range of things, but I never could have imagined the actual celebrity that comes from it, from the fan base, the kindness of fans and people that appreciate the work. That is just, I'm still floored by that to this day, and humbled to be here now talking about it. So I really thank you for it.
Well, thank you. I mean, I think I've spent a couple of at least 100 hours with you in my ear before, so I think I should be thanking you. And I mean, it's funny that you say that, like how things progressed in goals, and how the video game industry, it's kind of switched where people would make movies based on video games, then video game movies. You're going to set to release, I think, 2016 Ratchet and Clank.
Yes, Ratchet and Clank is something that's been in the works for a while. It was supposed to come out this last year, and then they ended up making some new changes and things, and creating an even bigger buzz about it, getting some other actors involved in it as well. And so they bounced back our date to 2016, April 2016. I'm very excited about it. It's one of those kind of bittersweet things for me as a voice actor, though. Again, going back to this, do we get credit? We don't always get credit. And if you look at the trailer for it, you see Sylvester Stallone, Paul Giamatti, all these things, Bella Thorne. And then if you blink, you will miss my name in the second thing of credits. And there's been such a great outpouring of fans saying, hey, why aren't we recognizing David Kaye, Jim Ward, and James Arnold Taylor as the main characters in this? So it's been really cool. I always encourage people, go ahead and let the folks know there that, you recognize all of us as the main characters in this. But on top of all of that, and that said, of course, that's one of the things that comes along with being a voice actor. But I'm really, really excited about Ratchet and Clank, the movie, because I think that it actually is going to do a great job of, converting it to the big screen. Because it already was one of those things. TJ Fixman, who's done such a wonderful job writing these games, wrote the initial script, and then Kevin Monroe has done some in the directing as well and helped with the writing of it as well. And Kevin and I worked together on TMNT, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie that came out in '07.
Nice.
So there's all sorts of folks, very competent folks, together with Blockade and all these great Rainmaker, coming together to make this movie that tells the tale. And for those of us that already know the tale of Ratchet and Clank, it reiterates it in a way that is still fun, but it also gets new people in to see who these characters are. And of course, we're doing the game that's going to be released as well that is kind of a remake of the original game, which was the only game I wasn't actually the voice of Ratchet in. So it's been great to redo it.
To put your stamp back on it. It all comes full circle as well. And they're fantastic games. No word of a lie, like Ratchet and Clank is kind of like one of those timeless things, so it's kind of cool to come back and to give it a little bit of a new flavor, but they really stand the test of time, and I can't wait to see the movie itself, because like I said, this coming full circle, and just to touch on quickly, I know it's not a big thing, but when you say like voice actors don't get enough credit, the funny thing about that is people like myself who grew up with the James Arnold Taylors, and I knew your name. Well, I knew your name, I knew who you were, I knew your work, I could pick up your voice. Like, it's not always distinct in the roles, but I've been following you, like you said, that's going to be at least 13 years. With the internet age that we're in and the social media age, voice actors are, way up there. They're very high and it's very prevalent. And I think Hollywood's going to have to catch up sometime soon, because I care about voice actors more than most, big name actors, because that's my world I live in. So I feel like it's only a matter of time before, the James Arnold Taylor goes above the Stallone. If you're the main character, it makes sense.
Well, if you're the main character, and God bless you for saying it. It's really cool. And I do think that people that follow voice actors should let the folks in Hollywood know, because I don't think that they really do understand that there is a huge following. I always kind of joke around that these producers in Hollywood, they may not know my name, but their kids know my name.
Exactly.
There is so much there, and it's fascinating. I'm a nerd about voice acting as well. I scan the credits. I want to know who it was. I'm blessed to be able to say that most of these folks are my friends now, and I know them and work with them daily. But the acting that is involved in voice acting is tremendous, because you become whatever it is they throw at you. Now, it's not to say that Johnny Depp or Brad Pitt or these guys aren't fantastic actors that can do the same, but they're confined to what they look like.
Yes.
We're never confined to that. We can be whatever it is. I can be a Lombax. I can be an 11-year-old kid named Johnny Test. I can be Obi-Wan Kenobi. Or yabba-dabba-doo, Fred Flintstone. And people wouldn't guess it. That's a 5'4", 115-pound guy like me.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it. So, I do hope they catch on. I think they are. This is my third major motion picture that I've been one of the main or lead or title characters in. And the others were TMNT and the Clone Wars, and both did very well in theaters.
Oh, yeah.
So hopefully Hollywood will get to see that voice actors can actually carry a film. So, I've got another movie coming out this next year with Sylvester Stallone in it as well called Apple Crackers. And it's another animated film, and I play Ian McKellen's brother in it, which is really pretty cool. So I get to star with all these people, but again, they'll be the ones that get the credit. But hopefully, with folks like yourself and others going out there and spreading the word, saying, hey, we love these voice actors. We want them to get more credit because we want to see what they're about and we love their craft. I think that's really the main issue, is not thinking that we just want to get a bunch of money. We just want to show people the craft of voice acting because it's a beautiful craft.
It really is. And I mean, the crew, like on now moving into Rebels, is absolutely insane. I mean, the fact, if you paid me and said, guess what, Steve Blum, the voice of Spike out of Cowboy Bebop, also does Garazeb Aurelios, I'd be like, get out of here, like Caraburst and all that kind of stuff. I'd be like, what? Like, that's not Spike. So yeah, you're right. The range is absolutely phenomenal. And just touching on the Clone Wars and Rebels, because it's got to have been a massive part of your life for...
Sure.
Gee, it's got to be going on near a decade now?
Well, over that, actually, yeah. Because the Clone Wars, the micro series, started almost 14 years ago. And then Clone Wars, we started production shortly after that. Actually, my daughter is 10 years old. She'll be 11 in February. So it's been almost 11 years. I know that because we adopted her from China. I got home from China and I went in and read for the first stuff for Clone Wars, the series that we all know and love. So it's been going on 11 years that we had worked on that show and been involved in it. And it's opened so many doors for me, yes, in the world of Star Wars, certainly hosting the biggest Star Wars events like Celebration and Star Wars Weekends, giving me these opportunities to interview the likes of Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Anthony Daniels, Warwick Davis, Ian McDiarmid. I was one of the first people to ever interview Ian. It was at Celebration 6. So it's been a wonderful world to enter into, but then to see the new wave of it all happening with Rebels, and of course Force Awakens is its own entity and its own beast moving forward. Open up all new worlds. But Rebels was one of those things where when I got asked to be in it as Obi-Wan again, I was very excited. Dave Filoni, of course, our director on Clone Wars, directed me in that. And I came in kind of secretly. Even the cast didn't know. The way that they work it, you get the scripts right then. You don't get them beforehand and get to read them or anything. They give it to me a little bit beforehand because they knew it was a really crucial part. For those folks that are watching that hadn't seen that was the first episode of Rebels. And if you haven't seen it, you will go and watch Rebels.
I'll go watch Rebels. No, I'm seeing that.
But Obi-Wan, of course, has this message via hologram, which was an amazing thing to do because that was the message we never got to see in Revenge of the Sith. So to be the actor that got to actually give that message and show that was really a great honor. And it was also very emotional. It was emotional for all of us in the studio because, again, you have to put yourself back in prequel era, and Obi-Wan has just seen the decimation of the Jedi Temple and all the Jedi, and then he's leaving this message saying there's got to be some hope. And so it was really cool to get to do that and put it all together. And then to see the new version of Obi-Wan and Rebels, the way he looked.
Yeah, the updated. It was definitely a new art style. But the fact, I love the word that you said. You said that obviously you're feeling the emotions and you had to get into the character at that time.
Yeah.
Did you feel during the Clone Wars that Obi-Wan himself had more of a story to tell in that era, or did you want to move forward with it? Did you, because obviously there was some seasons we didn't see in Clone Wars.
Yeah. Oh, man. No, it's a great question. And yes, to be fair, I got to be honest, I wished we could have gone on for several more seasons. I would have loved to have seen Clone Wars, honestly, go all the way up to right now and finish.
Yeah.
And then start something like Rebels, where it goes from there after Force Awakens
so 15
comes out.
years, fill that gap, because there's so much that canon has to fill when they kill the expanded universe. I mean, there was a big bridge.
Yes. So it would have been fantastic if we could have expanded. Of course, we did get to do some, we recorded a lot of episodes that never got put out there. Some of them did in these lost missions that they put out. Of course, thanks to Netflix putting out the bits of season 6, but also they put out some of those ones with just some of the animatics, the kind of
90s animatics. I watched through them, and they just kind of floated in places. And you could tell that they were just placeholders where you're voicing over. Yeah.
But those episodes were so great because that was Matt Lanter and I in the studio, just the two of us, doing these ones that for years I had said to Dave Filoni, you've got to do a Butch Cassidy and Sundance episode, where they're both just off on their own mission. And so that one was kind of the closest to it. So I was really glad that they released them in some form at least. And people can check them out certainly at starwars.com and see them. But, we were such a family. And to lose that, I've worked on countless numbers of shows through my career, and Clone Wars still to this day, we're still a family. It wouldn't surprise me if I'm texting Kat Tabor later today, or Matt, or Dee, or Tom Kane, or Ashley. We're all still so close, and we stay in touch, and it's because of Star Wars. So it's really very special.
That makes sense. So the character of Obi-Wan, I feel like if you've played him the longest and you know him pretty much the best out of all the people, well, you really should, because of the seasons and where he's at in Rebels. Mentally, you really know where he's at.
Yeah.
I can't make peace with this one fact. Obi-Wan Kenobi, arguably one of the two greatest Jedi, and one of the two Jedi left, realistically, because Kanan hasn't finished his training, with Yoda. He's sent to Tatooine to look after Luke. This guy let Anakin live, and obviously out of mercy and compassion, but once he found out Darth Vader is rolling around the galaxy, how does he stay on Tatooine and not come back to Rebels? Surely, because Ahsoka speaks to Bail Organa, and Bail Organa he's the only guy that knows where Yoda and where Obi-Wan is. Surely she's like, I need help against the biggest, baddest guys in the universe. Who should I call? Yoda and Obi-Wan. Are we going to see, or is there a chance of seeing Obi-Wan come to Rebels to help out the Rebel crew at all? Because I can't understand how he would sit on a planet looking after Luke when they need him the most now.
Wow, that's a great question. I wish I had an answer for it. Mm-hmm. I certainly don't have one that would just make it all okay.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that it's a great opportunity for the character, but it's also very tricky, I think, for all the folks at Lucasfilm. They're juggling so much canon. They're juggling so much story. They're juggling so many different things. And one of the great things that I loved was the book Kenobi. I don't know if you got a chance to check that book out, but fantastic story.
Yeah.
Really did kind of tell where Obi-Wan was at in that place while he's sitting there watching Luke and protecting Luke. I suppose you could say if he doesn't show up in Rebels, which again, I have no answers to any of that, but you could say he felt compelled that he had to stay for this one chosen. We know Luke kind of is the new chosen one there. And if he leaves, that endangers Luke. Yes. So maybe that's the answer we're looking for. Yeah. I don't know which answer we're looking for, but
No, I understand where you're coming from, and they've put him in the comics and they've said it. But also, I guess to wrap things up with the last question I wanted to know, what do you think if he's out in the desert, and you've read the book, so you know the context there, when do you believe that he's becoming Ben Kenobi from Obi-Wan, where he's kind of he's hung up his lightsaber a little bit, and he's really transitioned into the Ben Kenobi that is no longer a general? Do you believe it was in the book that kind of happened, or?
Ooh, it's funny is I'm actually getting emotional with you asking me these questions.
I apologize. I didn't mean to.
No, it's good. It's good because I am so close to this character. I love this character. I love Obi-Wan Kenobi. I love him throughout the whole universe of Star Wars and what he means to it all. And that question is, because I do connect to him. I forget how much I connect to him. I forget that I'm him sometimes, or that I get to play him, I should say.
Yeah.
And I feel like once he stepped out there and knew that was it, you look at Obi-Wan, and if anything, he's a consistent Jedi.
Yes.
He is consistent in he pushed away his feelings for Satine. He pushed away feelings to become anything but a Jedi. So I have to believe that he went, now it's time for me to be this because I need to protect this boy, Luke Skywalker. I have to redeem what has been lost. Mm-hmm. So I think once he stepped on that planet, he knew that's his mission and he stuck with it. So that also probably does sum up why we're not going to see or hear from him if we don't. Again, I have no idea.
There's a big if. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of room, but that definitely makes sense. And that is probably a beautiful time to end everything together. I don't want to keep flogging the Obi-Wan horse, but I could all day. If folks,
sure.
Number one, thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure. Thank you.
If folks wanted to reach out and follow you with your work across the Star Wars world, or even voice acting, or even acting itself, where would be the best place to follow you?
Too kind. Thank you so much. Yes, JamesArnoldTaylor.com is my website, JamesArnoldTaylor.com. And that gives you all the links to all my social media and everything else, to my IMDb page and all of those things. But social media, you can follow me. It's at JAT Actor. Capital J, capital A, capital T, Actors. That stands for James Arnold Taylor. So JAT Actor. Same with Instagram, but Twitter is really where I spend most of my time. I have a Facebook account that I'm on sometimes, and you can follow me there. But my Twitter account is really where I am constantly, daily, answering questions from people and such. So if you ask a question there, you know that it's going to be me. People can also pick up my book, JAT 365, which is on Amazon.com, and that is my way of giving positive feedback to people, and it's based off of my social media stuff. So, it's like I try to find ways to be an ambassador of inspiration for people, to inspire people to pursue their dreams, because I'm just one of the luckiest people in the world to get to do what I love and what I've always wanted to do. So I try to push that out there for everybody else too. And obviously, you're doing a great job here doing what you love and opening this world up of not just Star Wars, but just pop culture in general to people, and I think that's a wonderful thing. And so, it's entertainment is a great form. I know sometimes we take it lightly, but it really is a great way to find happiness if it's the right stuff. And so I try to always make it a positive, fun experience. And so I hope people would follow me on those. Thanks so much for asking.
No, you're very welcome. They should be on the screen as he explained them, and in the description below, the links will be all there. But the beauty of this video is it's just the start of the discussion. Our love for Star Wars surrounds and it binds us together. So let me know in the comments below, do you think Obi-Wan, I'm going to say it just one time, do you think Obi-Wan's coming back to Rebels after all that we've discussed? Because if you love Star Wars, we want to talk to you about it. It's as simple as that. If you want to stay up to date with the latest Star Wars videos on origins, games, and theories, don't forget to use those force powers of yours and hit subscribe. And hey, leave a comment below about what you want to see in future videos. It may just get covered. Thanks for watching, and may the force be with you. Always.